one thing I wanted to mention, because people have been asking about a subject that some might not be very happy with me when I say it, the issue of what is it? Hmm? The first row. So what's in the first row? حجز الأماكن. What's حجز الأماكن? When you preserve a spot in the first row, right? And this is always, actually, this is not just here, all over the world, mashallah. And this is a good sign. Every masjid, especially in the last 10 days of Ramadan, when you go to Haram, you know how the issue of making your spot. And the sad part that it sometimes creates friction and issues in the heart where it shouldn't. First of all, the fadila, the virtue of the first saf in salah is something that we cannot even comprehend. And we should not belittle that whatsoever. And it's sufficient enough that the Prophet ﷺ, when he talked about the saf al-awwal, the first row, he said that لو يعلم الناس ما في النداء والصف الأول ثم لم يجدوا إلا أن يستهموا عليه لاستهموا. If people know what's in the adhan, and nida is the call, adhan, and the first saf, and they don't find anything but to istahamu, they would flip a coin, draw a lot, whatever there is, and this is the only way for them to figure it out, they would do so. Al-adhan is to be given. Al-adhan is not something for people to compete for, because it's supposed to be given to the one and the nasi sultan. Al-mu'adhin is chosen based on having the best voice. And by the way, the best voice is not the melody, because the melody is not part of the sunnah when you give adhan. It's not because you're singing the adhan, and who can sing it better. No, it's the one that his voice, not like mine like this, but someone, صوته نادي, something that is, first of all, that it's loud and it's pleasant when you hear it. Not, like when I'm big. So something that is pleasant when you hear it, without the issue of the tones whatsoever. So that's why, even as mentioned in the fiqh before, that the ulama, they say that jiran al-masjid, the neighbors of the masjid, they have a say in who's the mu'adhin, because they hear this guy 5 times a day. So it has to be something or someone that is pleasant for them. But anyway, so he is appointed. So there's not much usually argument in this. And mashallah, for the situation of who's to give, then it's finished, inshallah. When it comes to as-saff al-awwal, so this is such a virtuous thing. So that's why it's a good sign that when you find yourself eager to be in the saff al-awwal, this is a good sign. And people, everybody, even if in the haram, everybody should, even the haram in Mecca is difficult, but if it's in the Masjid al-Nabawi, people should have this eagerness in their hearts. So, but then we're talking about a very specific matter. Can you preserve a spot in the Saf al-Awwal or in any place in the masjid? The answer, the original ruling to this, as the ulama, they say, no, it's not permissible. وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ, the masjid is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't make a spot, I own, otherwise then we can sell spots in the masjid. Make a mazad, or who wants to pay for this right behind the imam and to the right, make a lot of money, and then it becomes his, and he gives it in inheritance to the one after him, and so on. Then you can even more implications to this. Of course, this is very obvious that it's not permissible. We have a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that governs this. Hadith in Sahih Muslim: "Man qama min majlisihi, thumma raja'a ilayhi, fahuwa ahaqqu bih." Hadith in Sahih Muslim. Man qama, whoever leaves, stood up and left his majlis, the spot that he's sitting in. ثُمَّ رَجَعَ إِلَيْهِ, then he returned back to it. فَهُوَ أَحَقُّ بِهِ, he has the right to it. He has the right to that spot if he stood up from his spot and he came back. So how to understand this hadith, as the ulama, they say, قَامَ, that means he left, لِأَمْرٍ عَارِض, for an excuse, something temporary, something that he has to leave. Nobody can be on the same spot for hours and hours. Meaning someone has to go to the bathroom and he comes back, he has the right to a spot. Someone goes to make wudu and come back, he has the right to have a spot. But another one, someone, say for example, it's tight, so he go forward a little bit so that he can sit comfortably, but he has his spot, this is fine, within the same place, right? Or he goes a few steps to lean against the wall for a little bit, this is fine, and this is his spot. and he has the right to come back to it, this is his spot. But if someone leaves to go eat, to sleep, to go to work, whatever, to go shopping, he has no right to the spot. Why? Because this is not Amr Arab. This is not a temporary issue, or that means he left it and he's still there. This is his majlis. He just went for something temporary and coming back. So to fix this, inshallah ta'ala, and hope everybody will be patient, inshallah. And someone might come and say, but some of the ulama said this and some that said that. What I'm about to say, inshallah ta'ala, is to govern the situation in the masjid, and that should be implemented regardless of the differences of opinion. This is what we choose, inshallah ta'ala, and this is what should be done. And as the mashayikh, the present, the contemporary ones, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, Sheikh Ibn Baz, rahimahullah, and things like this, they adopt this opinion, and many, of course, and this is the right one, inshallah ta'ala, is that whether it's a child or a grown-up, child meaning that he knows the salah, 7 and above, he's not playing in the salah, someone that will stand in the salah, recognize the importance of it, in wudu, and so on. So there's no difference. If they come to a spot, they have the right to it. They stay there, and they make salah, they read Quran, then make dhikr. If a person leaves, right, you have a neighbor, right? So you can tell your neighbor, or your neighbor will recognize that you left for something. But at least tell him, I'm going to make wudu, or I'll be right back. You can have something in your spot if you're going for making a wudu. There's nothing wrong with that, inshallah. But as long as it's only for wudu, for bathroom, for to pick up something quick like this, exceptional. So if a person put something like this and he went to make wudu, and then the imam came in and the iqamah is made, what should people do with that spot? They should remove it because the salah has to be established, and someone would step forward. Before that, nobody is to remove one's positions or one's issues, or whatever he put his to save the spot. It should not be removed. So if someone else comes, wants to take the spot, the neighbor should say, "Al-makan lahu sahib." There's someone that owns the spot at this moment. He just went for something temporary and coming back. That brother that went, he should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're all people, mashallah, everybody's seeking rewards from Allah. So we don't want to fall into a sin as a result of trying to get a reward to be in the first saf. So if the brother is not really going for something temporary, for an exception, as we said, then this is not permissible. And the ulama, they mentioned that this is a sinful thing. It becomes dhulm, it comes into the category of dhulm, and we should stay away from having the dhulm. So if someone comes without even the neighbors or both sides sitting, say anything, say a person left, right? And this is, again, this is not instructions, this is deen. So if a person left and he did not tell anyone, where did he go? He went to make wudu, went to the bathroom. Sometimes it takes a bit longer. We have to be patient with each other. Brothers are all the same when it comes to their health situation. So he comes back, and someone is already sitting in his spot. Very nicely, very politely, this spot is mine. With that understanding, he doesn't have to explain where did he go to do. That person sitting should leave it, because that person has the right to it, right? What if that person says, no, it's not your place. I came here, it was empty, and that's what it is. Then the brother that owns the place, after explain to him the matter, he should leave it so that there's no enmity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best what's in his heart. And that brother that refused, he committed a sin. This is according to how the mashayikh they mentioned. Even Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan, rahimahullah, he said, you should trust, unless you have a documentation to prove that this brother was lying. Of course, we don't have to be like this. We have to trust each other. So if someone said, I just went to make wudu and come back, take whatever words. If he lies, it's on him. And why would someone do something like this? So to trust, to believe the one that says, but with these conditions that we mentioned. It's not that this is my spot and he did not follow the, we said, wudu, going to the bathroom, getting something that you need your mushaf, you need something like this. But eating, this is, if there's a line in the back, and I hope, inshallah, I'm not confusing to everyone. We don't want to get to every single detail. Say there's the line of the food in the back, right? So you have to go stand in the line. That doesn't take your spot away. So you go stand in the line, but you're going to sit and eat there, then we lose our spots. We have to lose the spots. Otherwise, this is going to lead to something else. And to get rewards, come early to the salah. So after Maghrib, if people go sit and eat somewhere, should we make the food here? If we say no, there's no food is going to be here, it's okay. Just to help each other, inshallah ta'ala, with matters of goodness. If you sit in the back and eat, then we start over again. No spots whatsoever. But and that's why it's a virtuous thing. If a person just want to eat tamr and dates and things like this and stay here till Isha, inshallah, it's worth it. But to break the rules like this, it creates issues. But the issue of leaving something till we eat and we come back, no, inshallah ta'ala, this is, inshallah, it's not going to be the case. And I hope, inshallah ta'ala, there's no police in this matter and nobody's going to come and pull anything. It's one's self. And if we don't apply this, we are putting sin on our own selves. Even if there's an opinion somewhere, but this is the opinion that we adopt. So that has to be, even with the khilaf, with the differences of opinions, if someone in place choose an opinion, then his opinion becomes in place. To avoid issues, inshallah ta'ala. And to put effort and to come early, inshallah ta'ala. So I hope it's clear and without any hard feelings, inshallah ta'ala. And to leave it spacious for anyone that wants to come early. And if a person get a spot in the second row, mashallah, it's beautiful, inshallah. And again, as we said, as the Sheikh Ibrahim, remember when he was saying that if someone, it's his spot, but the people didn't believe him, calm down, it's okay. You pray somewhere and you get the full reward, inshallah ta'ala. It's not that we have to defend our rights and things like this. And there's another principle, very briefly, that is important in this, that al-fadila, when it comes to the ibadah, the fadl, the rewards and the virtue of the ibadah is in itself, more than the place and the time. Meaning that if you find your heart in the back row, more of focus on the salah, it's more virtue for you than to be in the first saf, and you can't focus on the salah because it's very tight. You understand? Because the ibadah is the objective, the salah itself, not the position of the person. Even though the position is virtue, but the ibadah in itself is virtue. Sometimes you go to al-Masjid al-Nabawi of the Prophet ﷺ. If you stand in the first row, even if you come in early, you'll be standing like this. Versus if you sit in the back, you'll be able to focus on the salah. Focus on the salah is more of a virtue than being close in position. And that's why, which is another thing, if you find the saf complete, do not squeeze in to hurt the others, where people then will be standing like this and that. And at the same time, we should fill the gaps. We don't have these gaps in between, to follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in it, inshallah ta'ala. And the whole thing about this entire subject is to avoid, inshallah ta'ala, any things in the heart, any disputes, any issues. And that's the whole goal of it, inshallah ta'ala. Not to cause issues as a result of that. And alhamdulillah, this is all beautiful because it's all seeking rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So barakallahu feekum, jazakumullah khairan, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring things easy, inshallah.